to be well again, to be healthy again. So the last step is the way how to end the suffering. You see that? It's so logical. You understand that? So you see that Buddha is like a doctor. At first, he point out the problems that we have, and he point out the root of the problems, the reason why we have the problems. And the second step is that he say, okay, there's a way how to get out that kind of problems. The last step is, yeah, if you follow my instructions, if you follow my techniques, if you follow my teaching. If you don't follow, hey, it's up to you. You can handle your suffering. It's up to you. You can enjoy them. You see, that's so logical, right? To have this kind of two paths. And then we'll go back to the first one. Yes, the Buddha point out the problems that we have now, physically and mentally. No one can escape from that. I think if you raise the cat, the dog, and so on, I mean the pet at home, sometimes you feel they're stressed, right? They could not speak, but through their action or through their behavior, you would recognize the stress, especially whenever you don't give them food, right? Especially you don't show the care for them. Not talking about human, not talking about our children, our wives, our husband. It's common. It's happened to every one of us. We can recognize that. We can have that through our proper observations. You got that? So that's the first one, the noble truth of suffering. The second one, the Buddha say the reason why we have this kind of problems, okay, especially mentally, because of course, in the general term, greed or desire, hatred or stupidity or ignorance. You got that?
Ignorance.
Yeah, ignorance. Yeah. This is in the general terms. We'll discuss about that later on. Now, physically, if we sick, yes, nowadays or even in the past, we would see the doctors to give us some kind of medicine so that we can be healthy again. But mentally, the doctor may not help us much, unless we want to help ourselves. And we discuss that part in the fourth one, the way how to end the suffering, the way how to solve the problems. Okay, so in general, we have a lot of discontentment about ourselves. Like I mentioned recently, we could not satisfy with the things that we have now. We want to seek more and more. The reason why is built up the stress, movement by movement. Like I mentioned recently, when we were young, we look up some people. Oh, he's the great teacher, he's the great doctor, he's the great engineer, he's the great president. I want to be. But what happened if we achieve to that level? We still want to reach more, to have more and more. The reason why we could not have some sort of the contentment or satisfaction for ourselves. That's the root of problems. And okay, it's too slow, huh? And actually, so the two, you can say that the three things. Let me write down. Actually, you allow me to write down the word. Okay. Greed or desire. Now, in plural, not in singular, right? In plural, that's why we have so many desire. Okay, hatred. Is spell right? Hatred, right? Okay, ignorance. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's speak. So the Buddha said they are the core or the main problems mentally that we deal with movement by movement. And actually they connect with each other. Let's see. Now, you know, pendulum. Okay. Our mind fluctuated, our mind fluctuated movement by movement from desire to hatred. We swing back and forth with this kind of thoughts, like, dislike, dislike, like. We hear some words say, okay, the first impression, right? If we see someone else at first, we would have some kind of judgment. Wow, that person is nice. That person is look ugly, or so and so. It's hard for us to remain in neutral way, right? The reason why, with that kind of impression, we like or dislike that person. That means we create some kind of attachment or repel. Right? Like or dislike. And it's based upon ignorance. That's the whole word in Buddhism. In order to get it up, in order to transform this kind of ignorance, you need what? The opposite of ignorance is wisdom. You got that? Now, remember the Buddha when he was prince, he recognized the physical suffering that he has to endure. When he went out to the palace, remember the four sides, right? So he wanted to solve that kind of problems, but after his enlightenment, he recognized that besides the physical suffering, there are the mental suffering too, that we just discussed recently. Greed, desire, attachment, hatred, repel, and ignorance. Okay, so there's so many kind of desire. There's so many kind of attachment we can count. We can list out. A desire to become great person. And now let me put this way so that you won't misunderstand. Desire is quite different from inspiration. It's different. We'll discuss about that. It's based upon what? It's based upon the peacefulness and happiness that we want to achieve ourselves and to achieve all people. The wisdom here, the Buddha have achieved, is quite different from the secular or the mundane wisdom. Now, let me put it this way. Someone can be intelligent, but they may not have much wisdom. Let's say, okay, he may be intelligent to design nuclear bomb, right? What happened? This harms so many people and harm himself too, right? The one who has the wisdom is the one that know how to achieve the happiness, the peacefulness,